Every Salesforce object, standard or custom, comes with built-in system limits. These limits ensure platform scalability and performance across Salesforce multi-tenant architecture. Understanding these limits is essential when designing data models that will scale efficiently. So I have a screenshot from the developer org. Some of these limits may vary for unlimited editions. You can have up to 500 fields per object in a developer edition or 800 fields in an unlimited edition. This includes all field types like text, formula, etc. You can have 40 relationship fields in total, which includes lookup, master detail. Out of these, only two can be master detail relationships. You can have 25 roll-up summary fields per object, and roll-up summary fields are only available in a parent side of a master detail relationship. Validation rules, formula fields, and record types also have some limits. Formula fields you can have up to around 60 to 100, but validation rules you can have 100 per object, subject to formula length. These limits force architectural discipline and promote simplicity. In real-world orgs with hundreds of objects and integrations, poor planning can cause teams to hit these limits and force costly redesigns. It is better to reuse existing fields, use custom metadata types, or even externalize infrequently used data to avoid field bloat. Object limits are not just technical constraints, they are a strategic guardrail. Being aware of these early helps you design clean, scalable, and future-proof Salesforce applications. Let us discuss about record types and page layouts. Record types in Salesforce lets you create different versions of a record layout within the same object. This helps you tailor the user experience based on business processes or user profiles. For example, in a recruiting app, you can use different record types for technical position and non-technical position, each with its own picklist values, page layout, and process. Record types help to organize data more effectively, to improve productivity by showing relevant fields and values, to enhance reports by segmenting data by type like new hire or internal transfer. For example, sales reps working in different regions can see only the fields and pick lists relevant to their geography or industry. You can use record types to streamline business processes by enforcing different sales and service processes, by controlling which values appear in pick lists, by ensuring clean and structured data entry. For example, a service team can use different record types for customer support versus field technician visit to trigger different flows or page layouts. What are page layouts? Page layouts define how a record looks and behaves when a user views or edits it. They determine which fields are visible or required, the arrangement of sections, the display of related lists and buttons. In a recruiting app, you can create different layouts for HR and hiring managers, showing only relevant fields to each group. Salesforce admins can add or remove fields, can rearrange sections and related lists, can control visibility and read-only settings. For example, in a position object, you might show technical skills only for technical position layout and hide it for non-technical position layout. A clean and focused layout helps speed up data entry, minimize confusion, ensure important fields are not missed. For example, place frequently used fields like job title and location at the top of the page for quick access. You can design page layouts to reflect specific processes like sales stages, case resolution steps, recruitment workflows, etc. For example, in recruitment, layout fields can shift based on record type, interview date for hiring team versus resume reviewed for HR. Admins can assign different layouts to users based on profile and record type. For example, for HR profile, we can have a HR layout. For hiring manager profile, we can have a manager layout. This ensures users only see what is relevant to their role. Now let us discuss about the key sections of Salesforce page layouts. The first section is a configuration palette, which is located at the top of the page layout editor. This contains page elements like fields, buttons, quick actions, related lists, report charts, visual force pages, custom links. All these are drag and drop. You simply drag these components into the layout sections. The palette is dynamic and changes based on the object type and layout context. Use the palette to quickly add or remove elements as per your business needs. Always preview for visibility and usability. The second section is the highlights panel section, which displays compact key record information at the top of the record page in Lightning. It is not directly controlled from the main page layout editor. It is instead managed by the compact layout. Actions shown in this panel come from the Salesforce mobile and Lightning experience action section of the layout. It can include up to 5 fields, visually prominent. Use compact layouts to prioritize fields like status, priority, owner. Keep the panel clean and concise. The third section is a related list section, which shows child or associated records. It is located in the related tab on record pages. It is managed from the related list section of the layout editor. In Lightning, there are two component options. You can add a related list single or related list multiple. You can choose displayed fields, related list label, and include buttons. Use enhanced related list to allow sorting, more columns, and inline editing. The next section is the Actions section, which is located in the layout as Salesforce Mobile and Lightning Experience Action or Quick Actions in Salesforce Classic Publisher. It controls which actions appear in the Highlights panel, in the Activity Composer. If no actions are defined, Salesforce uses a default global set. Record Detail section is the main section of the layout where standard and custom fields are displayed. You can organize fields into sections, use two column versus one column layouts, set fields as required, read only or hidden. In Lightning, this area appears in the detail tab of the record. Group fields logically, like for example, personal info, contact info, and keep it readable. Use section headers to improve clarity. You can resize fields in the page layout sections. Use the checkbox options on standard objects like show email opt out to enable disable certain default features. Drag frequently used items higher up to reduce scrolling. Use preview as in the editor to see how the layout looks for different profiles. Let us see this in action. So I went to the position object. So when you go to page layout section, you see a position page layout. So I'm just opening the page layout, which brings up the enhanced page layout editor. The first section is called the configuration palette. This contains a lot of options like fields, buttons, actions, related lists, report charts, etc. So using this section, you can add all these components to the layout. The second important section is highlights panel. Highlights panel displays the compact key record information at the top of the record page in Lightning. This is not directly controlled from the main page layout editor. Instead, it is managed through compact layouts. Actions shown in this section come from Salesforce Mobile and Lightning Experience Actions section. Then we have multiple sections related to actions. There is a quick actions in Salesforce Classic Publisher. This is specific for the classic environment, and Salesforce Mobile and Lightning actions. Whatever actions you add here will be added to the page layout. Then the main important section is the detail section where standard and custom fields are displayed. You can either use a two column layout or you can use a single column layout. You can set fields as required, read only, or hidden. For example, I can make the max pay field as read only or required at the page layout level. When I created this object, I made the min pay as required at the object level. Since I made min pay required as the object level, you see a blue circle icon here and a star icon here. Blue circle icon indicates that this is a mandatory field on the layout. Star indicates that this is a required field on the layout. Position name is also a required field. That's why you see a star as well as blue circle on it. Days open is a formula field. Since it is configured as a formula field, you don't have an option to edit this. That's why you see a log icon here. Same is the case with hiring manager email, which is also a formula field. Job application count, if you remember, was a roll-up summary field, which is also a calculated field. That's why you see a log icon here. Functional area large is configured as a controlling field for a job level complex. So that's why you see a controlling field icon and a dependent field icon for job level complex. Same with functional area and job level. We also discussed about audit fields, which included the created date, created by, last modified date, and last modified by. So created by and last modified by are the audit fields which cannot be modified. That's why you see a lock icon with them. You can separate the detail section with multiple sections to organize the data. For example, I can add a new section in the detail section, salary information. I can make it visible on detail as well as edit section. I'm making a two column layout. So in this, I'm dragging the min pay and max pay values. So anything related to salary, I'm going to add in this section. Similarly, I can add one more section, job details. I'll make it a single column layout. And within this, I can add the job description and languages. Now, job description, I defined it as a rich text field. So it would be nicely visible if I make it as a single column layout. The maximum number of columns that you can add in the detail section is 2 columns. The detail section also contains standard as well as custom buttons. Standard buttons come as part of the pre-baked functionality in Salesforce. You can also create your own custom buttons and you can add those in the custom button section. The next section is the related list section. It shows childs or associated records for this particular object. If you remember, position had an object called job application as a child. So we defined a master detail relationship from job application to position. That's why job application is a child record for position. So you can display all job applications associated to this position using the related list component. You can add all the child records of this parent position object in the related list section. If you want to know which objects are the child records for this, you can go to related list section in your palette. If you see here, all these objects are the child records of the position object. Currently, I added position history, which we got because I enabled history tracking on the object. Open activities and activity history, I'm getting this because I said allow activities on my object. Notes and attachments, I checked the checkbox for adding notes and attachments. That's why I'm getting this section. Job application has a master detail relationship with position. That's why you see job applications here. You also have groups, files, content deliveries, approval history, and related content as child objects, which I have not added to the layout. If you want to add any one of them, you can just drag and drop it. For some of the related lists, you have an additional ability to control the layout. I can click on this wrench icon and I can configure what fields can be visible. You can make up to 10 fields visible. So currently I've added subject, name, task, due date, status, priority assigned to. You can also configure what buttons are visible on this layout. So currently new task, new event button available. You can also add the quick actions which are available in Lightning Experience in this section. So I can say edit comments. So I'm adding 3 actions. Now currently new task, new event and edit comments will be visible. There are some related lists for which there is no ability for you to make any changes. For example, for position history and for files and notes and attachments, which we get by default when using checkboxes as pre-baked functionality, you cannot make any changes to these layouts. Then coming to the quick actions and Salesforce mobile and lightning actions, this section, whatever buttons or actions you add in this section will be visible in the Salesforce classic environment. Our training is completely in lightning, so I'm not going to discuss in detail about this action, but to give some background, whatever actions you add here will be visible in the classic layout. Whatever actions you add to the Salesforce mobile and lightning action experience action will be visible in mobile as well as the lightning experience. So in order to add any actions here, you can click on this wrench icon. These buttons or these actions are added here. If you want to add more, you can go to mobile and lightning actions, drag and drop an action here. So once you are satisfied with the layout, you can click on save. We created a position layout. Now let us see how this is shown in the lightning experience. I went to one of the position record called technical architect. So the first section that we are going to discuss here is the highlights panel. So I configured an highlights panel here. But if you see the position record that I opened does not show all the fields that I added there because highlights panel is controlled in a different way. So we will discuss in more detail about highlights panel once we go and edit the lightning record page. The next section that we configured was Salesforce mobile and lightning experience actions. We added a bunch of actions here. If you observe the lightning experience layout, you don't see all the actions here. So there are some actions displayed here like new account, new contact, new case, new lead, but new task button is not visible here. So in lightning experience, the buttons and actions are distributed in multiple areas. Some of the actions are on the activity tab, like for example, log a call or create a new task is visible in the activity tab, and remaining buttons are shown on the highlights panel. And it only shows like 4 buttons here, and remaining buttons are shown as a drop down. The next section that I actually configured was the position details section. The details section will be visible in the details section, details tab in the actual lightning experience. All the fields will be visible in the way that we configured earlier. All these sections are collapsible. The next section that we configured was related list section. The related list section that you configured on the page layout will be in the related tab. So open activities, activity history, position history, notes and attachments, job applications, all the related lists are displayed here in the related tab. And the standard and custom buttons that you added on the detail section, edit, delete, these are also visible on the highlights panel. There are some elements that are not supported in the lightning experience. S controls is not supported in Lightning. Similarly, home page components are also not supported. HTML areas or JavaScript buttons are not supported. tags are not supported, custom console components are not supported, mini page layouts are not supported. Not all related lists that you have added on the layout will be visible in the related section. And you will also sometimes see less number of fields than what you added in the related list configuration and page layout. So for example, when I go to position record, let me go to one of the related list. I go to activity history related list. If you see here, I've added 6 fields in the activity history. But when I go to my page layout in the activity history, I'm only seeing 4 fields. By default, in Lightning experience, Salesforce displays only 4 fields in the related list. If you want to ensure that up to 10 fields are shown in the related list, you can go and edit using this edit page. This will open the Lightning record page, which we are going to discuss in detail in our next session. Just for related list, you can go to the related section, and whichever you want to configure, you go to that related list section. And if you see that there is a related list type, which is currently default. So you can make it basic list, which will show you 4 fields. Default is by default is basic list. You can go to enhanced list, which will show you all the fields that you added. Up to 10 fields is the max that you can show there. Or you can also show it as a tile. Going and selecting enhanced list for this related list, clicking on save and going back to the record. So this will display me all the fields that I have configured for activity history. Now let us see how to create a record type in action. For my position object, I want to create 2 different record types, technical as well as non-technical position. For doing this, I'll go to setup, I'll go to object manager, and I'll go to the position and open and click on the record type. Salesforce by default creates a master record type. So I'm clicking on the new button. So if you see there is an existing master. So I'll give the name for my first record type as technical position. I can use some description. I'll make it active. You can also make it visible to everyone. Currently, I'm making it visible to everyone. Clicking on next. So I'm saying apply one layout to all profiles. I'm making all the profiles to have position layout for now. I'll click on save and new. I'll create one more record type. I'll call this record type as non-technical. I'll make it available for everyone. For now, I'm giving the same layout for this record type as well. I'll go back to my position layout. I'll create a new layout from an existing layout. So I'll create a new layout. I'll call this as non-technical position. So to demonstrate the importance of record types and page layouts, I created on the position object, I created 2 page layouts. One I call it as technical position, second one non-technical position. I also created some additional custom fields to differentiate between these 2 positions. Now in the layout, what I am doing, I'll go to the technical position layout. I'm adding a new section, which is 2-column layout. And here I created some new additional fields which I'm going to drag to this section. For technical position, I want the certification requirement to be displayed here, the technical skills also to be displayed here, so that it becomes very easy for the recruiter to find people accordingly. And I also want the number of interviews needed for this position. So I'll call this as technical requirements. I'm adding one more section. I'll save this for the technical position and I'll go to non-technical position. Here I'm adding a new section, non-technical requirements, and I'm going to add domain experience, customer facing role, and general interview feedback to this section. I will get rid of all the technical position related fields. Similarly, for technical position, I will ensure that non-technical related fields are not part of this. So we created record types and we created page layouts and we had different views for different layouts. So record types and page layouts are actually closely connected in Salesforce. Record types help categorize records, technical versus non-technical, while page layouts determine what users see when interacting with those records. For example, in our recruitment app, I created a technical position record type, which uses a layout showing programming skills. For non-technical, which uses a layout focused on communication skills. Admins can assign specific page layouts to each record type for each user profile. This ensures users only see relevant fields and sections. For example, for the recruiter profile, assign technical layout to the technical position record type, assign HR layout to the non-technical position record type. To configure the mapping, so we go to the page layout assignment section. So when you go to the page layout assignment section, so profiles will be displayed as rows and the record type is displayed as a column. So since I created 2 record types for position object, I see 3 values here. Master is the default record type. For non-technical, have one one column. For technical, I have the other column. Profile is nothing but it is a group of users who do the similar kind of activity will be under a single profile. For example, all administrators will be on administrator profile. Sales users will be under sales profile. When any user comes to a non-technical position, he has to see the non-technical position layout. Any user comes to the technical position, opens a technical position record, he should see the technical position layout. So for that reason, for non-technical, I am assigning instead of position, I am assigning non-technical position. And for technical, I am assigning the technical position. And once I am done for assignments accordingly, I'll click on save. Others, I am making them see only position layout. Combining record types and page layouts helps in improving data accuracy by limiting unnecessary fields. It boosts user productivity with simplified forms. It supports business process alignment across departments. For example, the HR team sees only onboarding related fields, while the hiring manager sees fields related to interviews and final decision. The other advantage of record types is it can also control the pick list values that are shown for each individual record type. So when you go to a technical position, if you see all the pick list fields that are available on this object are shown here. For example, for technical position, the functional area is typically information technology. So retail operations is not part of it. So I'm removing this, all these other values. So finance, information technology, miscellaneous is the functional area is what I'm setting it up here. Then for job level, I'm only showing the finance and HR IT related job levels and removing the warehouse as well as retail operations from the screen and even HR. So for technical position, I need all the technical skills. So I will add all the technical skills. Similarly, I'll go to non-technical position record type position. And here I will just add the non-technical positions here and remove the information technology. So human resources, retail operations, warehousing can be non-technical positions. So I'm just selecting those, clicking on save. Similarly, we'll do for the other fields. So the advantage of doing like this is whenever you create a record, a technical position record, only the technical related pick list values are shown. For example, if I go to my position object now, and when I create a new position, since I have record types, Salesforce first asks you what record type you want to create. So I want to create a technical position. So I'm clicking on technical position. So when I go here, it will ask the position details. So I'll call this as technical architect 2. I'm saying it is a remote position, location is USA, open date is Monday, hiring manager is some hiring manager. Min pay, I'm making it as 100,000. Max pay, I'm making it as 150,000. I'm adding all the relevant fields. If you go to functional area, here if you see, you're seeing only finance, information technology, miscellaneous because I removed the other fields for the technical position. So I went to finance. I am only seeing the finance related levels and I'm clicking on save. Okay, languages known is a required field. I'll go and select the languages known. Now let me create a non-technical position. So I'm going back to positions, clicking on new button, non-technical position. Now if you observe, the functional area will show you non-technical position types. So I'm calling it as operations manager, location, open date Monday. There is a hiring manager, job level HR, and languages known, min pay. If you remember, I also added some fields which are like domain experience needed. So I'm saying hiring, general interview feedback once the interview is done. So I'm saying it's a customer facing role, clicking on save. For technical position, you should see skills here because I added skills, technical skills and certifications. So this is the way record types and page layouts help in configuring your user interface. Now let us discuss some best practices for implementing record types and page layouts. Ensure your record types and page layouts are aligned with specific workflows and need of each department or role. Collaborate with stakeholders like recruiters, hiring managers to gather input before designing layouts or creating record types. For example, HR might need fields like background check status, while hiring managers care about interview score. Page layout should be logical and intuitive. Group related fields, highlight critical fields at the top, minimize clutter for easier data entry and review. For example, use separate sections like candidate info, role requirements, and approvals to keep the layout clean. Record types help enforce data standards, assign default values, define required fields, apply validation rules based on record types, etc. For example, technical positions require programming languages and non-technical positions that field can be hidden or optional. To ensure success, provide role-based training explaining why record types or page layouts differ. Use in-app guidance and tooltips. Encourage user feedback to iterate on design. Design your configuration with scalability in mind. Use naming conventions. Keep layouts modular so they can be cloned or updated easily. Avoid hard coding, logic in validation rules or automation based on record types when possible. Okay, let us see some page layout considerations. Page layouts are assigned based on profile and record types, which allows different roles to see different tailored layouts. Field level security overrides layout visibility. If a user doesn't have access to a field, it remains hidden even if it is included in the layout. Some classic layout elements like JavaScript buttons, S controls are not supported in Lightning experience. Dynamic forms enable flexible field and section placement directly on the Lightning record page with conditional visibility. Now let us see some limitations on page layouts. Classic page layout supports a maximum of 20 S controls and 20 visual force pages. You can have a maximum of 20 expanded lookup filters. You can have up to 100 related lists that can be added on a layout. Custom links are unlimited. These limits apply only to classic page layouts, not to Lightning dynamic forms. Dynamic forms provide greater flexibility, allow conditional field visibility, and are not bound by the same element limits.